Washington Township. I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Statement of meeting notice. Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the public 48 hours in advance of the date setting forth the date, time, location, and type of meeting. Notice was sent to the Daily Record, the Observer Tribune, and the Washington Township Clerk, and was posted on the district website at www.wtschools.org. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Moving on to President's comments. Good evening, everyone. I hope all the parents out there are enjoying the early dismissals, the parent-teacher conferences, and the shortened week for Teachers Convention. For those of you who were not at the board meeting on Wednesday last week, we unanimously appointed the next superintendent, Antonella Lynn, who will start effective January 1st. And there's more info on that on our district website, or you can rewatch the board meeting on our website as well. Since we just met and concluded the superintendent search last week, I was just going to address district distinctions here in my president's comments, as I didn't have a whole lot else to add at this time. First off, I wanted to take this opportunity to publicly congratulate Long Valley's own John Hawley, which is the son of board member John Hawley, who's sitting in the front row here, who finished his undefeated cross-country season by winning the USATF New Jersey Olympic Cross Country Championship. The USATF is the U.S. track and field governing body. He won the 9-10 boys state championship over the weekend, which qualifies him to compete in the Junior Olympic Championships in Indiana on December 13th. It's an incredible achievement, and we all wish him luck as he competes at the Junior Olympics. Next, I wanted to publicly thank all of our veterans. Veterans Day is Monday, November 11th. We have all the veterans from the American Veterans Association of Washington Township Post 1776, Commander Tom McBride, Vice Commander John Kraniak, and Adjutant Ed Toomey. These men do wonderful work in the township and our schools, including the following events. Cuccinella had their flag-raising ceremony today at 8 a.m., which was also complete with a breakfast and Q&A time with students. Old Farmers has their flag-raising ceremony on Wednesday, November 6th, following an 8:15 breakfast. Blocktown Schools has their flag-raising ceremony at 8 a.m. at the Cosman Flagpole on Tuesday, November 12th. LVMS hosts Post 1776 for a Memorial Day visit, which we'll have more details on later on in the year. Also going on in our schools is the Stuff the Bus. Schools are participating in the service-based program, collecting and donating food to the Long Valley Interfaith Food Pantry. Red Ribbon Spirit Week, which serves as a catalyst to mobilize communities to educate the youth and encourage participation in drug prevention activities. Different events are held throughout the week to support students and to teach them about healthy living. And just to highlight a few events at LVMS, the Panther Chats. So throughout the 24-25 school year, Mr. Ippolito and Mr. Mirabella will host the Panther Chats for behind-the-scenes look at LVMS. All parents were invited to attend the first event, which was held at the LVMS Media Center on Thursday, October 24th at 6:30. These events give parents the opportunity to meet the LVMS administrators, discuss various topics about the school, provide input, and ask questions. As additional Panther Chats are scheduled, they will be advertised via the LVMS Monday Minute. And lastly, there's the Pink Out at LVMS, so thanks go out to all the students and advisors and staff members who participated in the Pink Out Spirit Day. The Student Council raised over $400 for the Susan G. Komen Foundation to help raise awareness for breast cancer. And lastly, for Thanksgiving, the learning activities and celebrations are happening in the schools during the week of November 25th. And as a reminder, November 27th, which is a Wednesday, early dismissal is to start off the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. This concludes my comments and district distinctions, but before I hand it off to Mary Beth, I wanted to give board member Cindy Ruggiero a moment to address the community and the board. For those that don't know, this is her last board meeting as her term expires after December. But she will not be here next meeting when we publicly recognize outgoing board members, so I wanted to give her a moment now to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. This is my last Board of Education meeting, as I will be out of the country during December's meeting. I have celebrated over my 42 years as a Long Valley resident, 8 years on the West Morris Regional High School Board of Education, and now 3 years on the K-8 Washington Township Board of Ed. When I came onto the board 3 years ago, it was a time of controversy and divisiveness, as I've never seen before. As I leave this board, we have a new superintendent, a sense of mutual commitment, and a more cordial working environment sometimes. This is a tribute to all of you, the board members. I also want to thank you personally for all your friendship and support during my term. What is particularly inspiring to me is the progress we are continuously making towards our children's school experience to make it better. We are doing so by spirited conversations and putting the children first. I encourage all of you to maintain this high standard as the new board addresses the challenges that will always lie before you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my husband, Peter. He has been a great supporter and sounding board, and boy, did I need him. I also want to thank my children and 5 grandchildren who live in Long Valley, and one set in Salina, Texas, with 4 of my grandchildren, as they served as my inspiration for seeking a seat on this board. Lastly, I would like to make a symbolic gesture. During my tenure, I recently discovered that my friend Carmine had never tried peanut butter in his life. So in the spirit of continuing change and accepting new ideas, I am giving Carmine my favorite peanut butter and jelly combination so he can take a new leap of faith as he departs this board with me. It's been an honor. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. I think that actually came out in the superintendent search that he never had peanut butter, right? I remember that. Right.
Exactly.
I'm Italian, I grew up in Brooklyn. We didn't have peanut butter. We had provolone,
Prosciutto. Mozzarella. Ready? Well, that's hard to follow. Congratulations again. So I'll start this evening with our HIB reports. We had 5 unfounded and 6 founded in total, 3 from Cuccinella, 4 from Flocktown Cosman, 1 at Old Farmers, and 3 at Long Valley Middle School. Of the 3 that were investigated at Cuccinella, all 3 were founded. Of the 4 at Flocktown Cosman, 2 were unfounded, 2 were founded. Of the 1 at Old Farmers, 0 were founded. And of the 3 at Long Valley Middle School, 2 were unfounded and 1 was founded. This week, families are engaged in parent-teacher conferences, which is a wonderful way to stay connected and informed about how your child is doing in school, how to support their learning and growth at home, and how to continue to foster a positive homeschool connection. As you know, Thursday and Friday this week, schools are closed so that staff can participate in the NJEA Teacher Convention, providing opportunities to connect, collaborate, and grow. The convention empowers educators, providing tools and resources that enhance their practice. Over 300 workshops, seminars, and programs are offered, designed to help teachers and educational support professionals hone their skills and stay current in their subject areas and chosen fields. Next, per New Jersey law, NJAC 6A:8-4.3a, this evening, Mrs. Russo, our Director of Curriculum Instruction, will give a report on the district results of our DLM, that stands for Dynamic Learning Map, and NJSLA state assessments. She'll share areas of strength and areas where we need to focus, and our next steps regarding actions we will take as a district. We will also have a presentation by members of CPAG, our Special Education Parent Advisory Group. CPAG gives parents the opportunity to provide direct input to the district about policies, programs, practices, and services that have an impact on students and on their families. As President Olmixon said, 11/27 is an early dismissal day for the start of Thanksgiving. And as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday season, I'd like to take a moment to say a few things that I'm thankful for. In addition, of course, to my wonderful family, I'm thankful for the experience I've had working in this district and for the enjoyment I've had serving the schools during this time of transition. It's a great place to be, and I believe we're all very grateful and appreciative of our entire WTS school community and staff who work so hard to create positive, productive, and nurturing learning environments for our children. I want to welcome and congratulate the newly named superintendent, Ms. Antonella Lind. I look forward to working with her during our transition. I also want to take a moment to say that we're very thankful for our custodians and to formally acknowledge their positive impact on our school communities. They've worked very hard during the summer and certainly during the referendum projects that are ongoing. Their jobs go well beyond maintaining the meticulous conditions of our facilities, which is essential to creating a clean, safe, and welcoming environment for students and staff alike. But these individuals go above and beyond to support and promote excellence in our students. On a daily basis, they are integral members of the staff, performing acts of kindness. They're trusted and beloved members of our school communities who help build a foundation of spirit and support, and we want to formally thank them for their positive impact on our schools. Finally, I want to thank and acknowledge our veterans. Words cannot express how much we appreciate their service and their sacrifices they've made to protect us and our freedoms. Veterans Day, as you know, is Monday, and we want to say a heartfelt thank you. And may all of our veterans and active military be blessed. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I know it's a little early, but I wanted to make sure I got it in, and that concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. So first on the agenda is Mr. Brian Coe, who has a presentation for us. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here today again. I'm Brian Coe from Ms. Savaccia. I'm your audit manager. I've been on Washington's audit now for 5 or 6 years, I believe. I'm just going to jump right in and go over your general fund balances. You ended the year at $7.5 million in general fund balances. That's up $1.1 million from the previous year. Most of that increase was in your capital reserve, which is up to $3.4 million, and that brought you back to your 2021 levels, which is good to see. Your emergency maintenance and unemployment amounts remained pretty consistent. Your designated for subsequent years budgets decreased by $500,000 to $1.1 million, which I also like to see. And then the encumbrances decreased by $45,000 to $224,000. And your unassigned went down to $1.6 million, which is out of your control. That's a factor of 2% of your expenditures plus or minus adjustments. And that gets you your $7.5 million in your general fund. In special revenue fund, you utilized $1,078,000 of federal grants and $45,000 of state grants. In capital projects fund, the referendum bonds were issued during this audit. I know it seems like a long time ago, but that was, I believe, last August. $29 million you issued. And the last payment was also made on the 2003 bonds during this year. Your debt percentage is at almost 30%, which is due to those referendum bonds, and your debt limit is $97 million. So you're allowed to borrow up to $97 million. Not that we're saying you should do that, but you have the option to. In your food service fund, your net position increased about $22,000 during the year. This was largely due to those supply chain grants. And in your transportation fund, the net position decreased by $59,000. This fund has operated at a loss the past couple of years, so we wanted you to keep your eye on it to watch that net position decreasing there. I'd like to report that you have no recommendations again this year, which we're very proud of. And I'd like to thank Katie and Stephanie and the rest of the Board of Ed staff and business office staff for all their hard work and for putting up with us. And as I'm sure you're aware, auditors are not everybody's favorite people. So we appreciate you putting us first and taking the time to get these items that we needed so we can get our job done. And we appreciate that. We did have 2 suggestions, but we gave these suggestions to all of our districts this year. One of them was about COVID-19 federal funding, to make sure that you may at some point undergo a desk review, that so you need to maintain those documents in case the state or somebody else comes in to look at those COVID-19 grants. And then also we've been seeing in desk reviews lately that the federal grant reimbursement requests, they're recommending that you do reimbursement requests monthly or quarterly, even though that doesn't really make sense, especially when EWIG won't let you to do reimbursement requests when you have amendments in. But we just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that is something that they're looking at. Does anybody have any questions? Well, feel free to reach out anytime during the year. We're not just here during the audit, we're here all year round. If you have any questions, just reach out to us and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Next, we have a presentation from the CPAG group from Jacqueline Rakowitz and Sarah Cipoletti.
Good evening. My friend Jackie isn't here just yet, but if she would have the same message. My name is Sarah Cipoletti. Jackie Rakowitz is my co-coordinator of CPAG for our school district. We wanted to thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak this evening. CPAG is an avenue for parents and educators to collaborate, addressing systematic issues within the school district's special education program. Our mission is threefold: to offer parent support, to invite guest speakers, to bring attention to local services available for individuals with special needs in our community and their families, and also to provide meaningful programs to help our students thrive. We were grateful for Dr. Scarpin's request asking us to lead the group, and to the Board of Education for their guidance and support as we continue to grow and share our message. One of our focuses, as we mentioned, is bringing speakers to our meetings who identify services and groups in our area that support students with special needs. Jackie had intended to speak about that, so I'll just share a few things that she had wanted to say. She's been really awesome at finding really great people who can kind of give their advice to different families of different things that they can do. So we had Mary Jo Greasy from the Special Needs Ministry come last year. We also had Officer Gianquinto from the Washington Township Police Department come last year. Kelly Gleason, who's with Atlantic Health. She's a social worker. Most recently, we had Kathleen Erb, who's a district educator. She talked about the benefits of pet therapy, which is so awesome that it's happening among all of our schools right now. And coming up in December, at our December meeting, we plan on having Sue Murphy come to talk about the benefits of, her program, Mindful and Empowering Kids. We have 3 different speakers planned also for the spring, and lots of great things coming up. So we also are excited for some programs being brought to our schools and community, including the LVMS School Store, our Reading Buddies program at the Washington Township Public Library, and we also just hosted our first game time event today at the Washington Township Public Library, and it was the best experience. We had 13 children come and their parents. Some parents stayed, some parents left, and it was just so great to see the children interacting and learning, and the social skills were we're really having the best time. We've also hosted meet and greets at Coffee Potter for more casual conversation among parents, which has been very beneficial. We've had some parents that have children that have received services attend the meetings, as well as parents that do not have children that receive services, having more questions about understanding the best way to communicate with teachers, questions about the new math curriculum, things like that, where we can just kind of bounce ideas off each other, and anything that we feel like we can address. We have been emailing Dr. Scarpin and giving her a follow-up after the meet and greet to let her know who had attended and different things that we talked about. Something else we have beginning with the encouragement of Kathleen Nerd is introducing therapy dog visits to our programs. We hope to bring volunteers and their dogs from Bright and Beautiful to our game time event in December. So we have a therapy dog named Bonnie coming to our December game time event on December 20th. That's our next game time. And we're also having a read-in at St. Luke's on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And we're also going to be having a therapy dog at that event as well. So we thank you again for listening to our message. We look forward to everyone's continued support. We're finding the best way to maintain positive, collaborative relationships is by providing programs and opportunities for families to celebrate and reflect on their students' achievements and progress. So with that being said, our next meeting is Tuesday, December 3rd, right here at LVMS in the library, with Sue Murphy as our guest speaker. If you have any questions, you can I left some of our flyers up front that talks a little bit about us. And there's some QR codes to sign up for mailing lists and things. And thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a presentation from Ms. Deborah Russo, the annual district testing report.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you how our students performed in our spring assessments. We have tonight our English Language Arts, as well as our math and science and the DLMs, which is the dynamic learning maps. A little bit of background before we get started into the results. Who gets tested? We have students in grades 3 through 8 who take the NJSLA. A small percentage of our students qualify to take the DLM. That is assigned to students with severe cognitive impairments. We have multilingual students who also, if they arrive in the United States after June 1st, they may be exempt from the ELA portion of the test. They do, however, take the math portion. Testing occurs in May. ELA is 2 units over 2 days, 75 minutes each. ELA for grades 4 through 8, we have 2 units over 2 days, each 90 minutes. Math in grades 3 through 8, we have 3 units over 3 days, each 60 minutes. Algebra 1, 2 units over 2 days, each 90 minutes. And then science, our 5th and 8th graders take 4 units over 2 days, each unit 45 minutes. The test format. Unless otherwise specified in a child's IEP, all testing occurs digitally, and our multilingual students may be offered to take the NJSLA mathematics test in Spanish. The performance levels. Our levels in the NJSLA range from level 1 to level 5. Level 1 is not yet meeting level expectations. Those are scores from 650 to 700. Level 2, partially meeting grade level expectations, 701 to 725. Level 3, approaching grade level expectations, 726 to 750. Meeting expectations, 751 to 810. And finally, our exceeding grade level expectations range from 811 to 850. The distribution of how the results get to our hands in August, we get the initial analysis of the documents for us to review. Then the teachers receive those results in early September. They are on-demand reports through our Pearson Access Next. Results are added to the Student Hub and to our Link It dashboard for teachers to see. And also parents and guardians receive those results in mid to late September, with the individual student results mailed home and also access to an online portal. The online portal looks like this when you go in, and then on the left you see the report that gets printed that individually goes home in the mail. First, I'll share the dynamic learning map analysis. Because we have fewer than 10 students, because of the way that, for privacy, we cannot give those results. So those results are suppressed. So to protect student privacy, the data from this cohort, because it's less than or equal to 10 students, we have to exclude them from our report. This shot is an overall picture that I'm going to go into much more detail, but I think, you know, sometimes we want to know, just give me the lowdown on how did we do. This is basically everything. So when you look at grades 3 through 8, as I had mentioned before, all our students who are tested, we tested at 72% meeting or exceeding in ELA, 62% as meeting or exceeding in mathematics. I have the 12 and the 15 noted at the bottom. Those are our students who did not meet expectations or partially met expectations in both ELA and math. The circled results are our students who are almost. Those are our students who are approaching expectations. So we have 17% scoring in within that range in ELA, and also our 23%. Those are the students that I personally have my heart on, because I would like to see them grow. Okay, let's go a little deeper into language arts. In language arts, each grade level, grade 3 through 8, has obviously a bar here showing you the percentage for meeting or exceeding expectations. As you notice here in grade 3, we have 53%. In grade 4, 73%. The stars note the increase from the previous year. 79% in grade 5, grade 6, 70%, grade 7, 74%, 77% in grade 8, and our overall is 72%, which is an increase from the previous year. This bar graph measures our cohort achievement, so students moving from one grade to the next grade, did they grow in their scores? So looking at the cohort that went from grade 3 to grade 4, you can see the first indication is a pretty big increase. Grade 4 to grade 5, also an increase. In grades 5 to grade 6, we have a little of a decrease there from 81% to 71%. My eyes are terrible here. Grade 5 to 6 to 7, we have another increase, and grade 7 to 8 increase, and then overall the cohort for students rose from 67% to 75%. So those students grew in their achievement from year to the next. Distribution of achievement level by subgroups. As you can see here, we do have to report this as per state mandate, so I wanted to share with you our Asian population, the Black population, our Hispanic population. Our multiple race population is again less than 10, so we have to suppress that, and we have the white population as well. And boys and girl achievement levels in language arts. Close, pretty equal. Again, another subgroup that I wanted to share with you is our free and reduced lunch, our Section 504, our RLs, our special ed population, and our general education population achievement in language arts. Mathematics. Overall, the stars again note an increase from the previous year. So in grade 3 math, we have 64% of our students meeting or exceeding. In grade 4, we have 64% as well. In grade 5, 61%, 54% in grade 6, grade 7, 64% as well. In grade 8 math, it's 37%, and then our Algebra 1 students are at 96% meeting or exceeding. Math in all grade levels, we are at 62%, again, an increase from our previous scores from last year. Cohort scores. From grade 3 to grade 4, you can see a rise in scores, as well as grade 4 to grade 5. Grade 5 to 6, we have a dip. Grade 6 to 7, another good increase. Grade 7 to 8, an increase. Overall, in all of our grade, and if you, the algebra scores are pretty close, 96 and 95, and then an overall cohort increase. Subgroup by race again, our Asian population, Black population, our Hispanic students, and our white race students. And again, our female and our male in mathematics. Pretty close. And again, looking at another group, subgroups, we have our free and reduced lunch students, our Section 504 students, our L students, our special education students, and our general education students in math. Science. Science, the scoring is a little bit different with the rating of this. We have below proficiency, near proficiency, proficient, and advanced proficient. So you can see in our grade 5 students, we have 27% of our students meeting, 6% exceeding. In grade 8, it's an increase of 7.2%, 23%, and 4% meeting and exceeding, and then an overall 30% of meeting or exceeding, proficient, I should say, I'm sorry, proficient or advanced proficient in science. It's a different wording for science. Our subgroups for science as well. You can see our Asian population, the Black population, the Hispanic population, and again, our white students. Female versus male in the science realm, you can see here, our female percent meeting proficiency levels are 21 and advanced at 4, 28 for our boys, and 6% advanced. Free and reduced lunch results, our Section 504 special education population and our general education population here within this group. District factor grouping. I remember last year we had another presentation afterwards where we wanted to talk a little bit, well, how are we doing compared to districts like us, right? So looking at our district factor group, and what that is, the district factor group is the group the group of school districts that are similar to us relatively in socioeconomic status. Again, this was done in the year 2000, so it's been a while since our state looked at the districts around the state of New Jersey. But if you look at our grouping within that, so our DFG, we are an I. Towns similar to ours are Allendale, Livingston, Randolph, Montville, Denville, Madison, Morris Plains, Bedminster, Hanover Park, Sparta, Bridgewater, Raritan. Those are just some examples of schools that are school districts that are within our DFG. So you can see on this graph that 64% for ELA were meeting and exceeding in grade 3. We were at 53%, which is a difference of 11%, but looking at where we were last year compared to where we are this year, we did go up 5.8%, so we are headed in the right direction with more growth. Grade 4, you can see also the DFG is 72, we are at 73. Again, although we are at 73, it is an increase of 4.3 from the previous year. Grade 5, Washington Township is at 79%, so we did a little better, a 5% difference, but if we were comparing us to ourselves, we were 2% lower. 6th grade as well, the DFG is at 75, we're 70, but again, that's an increase from the previous year by 13.8%. Grade 7, we're right at the same DFG, but if comparing us to ourselves, we are at a 2.7% lower percentage. And then grade 8, although we are higher than the DFG by 4%, we went down a little bit by 5.9% in 8th grade. Mathematics. So compared to the DFG, you can see that we are lower in grades 3 through 6. However, looking at this, what I wanted to really point out is the change from 2023 to our current numbers. So in grade 3, we went up 9.5%, still with more room to grow. 5% in grade 4 and 1.5% and 0.5% in grade 6. In grade 7, Washington Township was higher than our DFG by 5.7%, and in grade 8, we were higher than the DFG by 7.2%. In algebra as well, an increase to 96%, which is a 4.8 difference from our previous year. For our district factor group in science, you can see that there is a low, obviously the difference is lower in grade 5. And we also have a difference that's lower in grade 8, but an increase in our overall score from a 7.2, or a 7.2. So looking at those again, those scores, right, to be 17% lower than our DFG and 37% lower than our DFG, I wanted to share with you what it is that we're doing about that. Our STEAM initiative, especially with the referendum and our new STEAM spaces that are coming to be this summer, it's even more exciting. But we do also have a revamped curriculum that with a new New Jersey learning standards in science. We also have our coach, our Dave Jones, who has been working very closely in the sciences and making coaching a priority in science next year, prioritizing our FOSS lessons in science, getting more hands-on, our coding unit. The 3rd annual STEAM Expo, which was recharged back in 2023 with our students participating each year. I know it's hard to find a parking space for that day, so it's overwhelmingly big interest in science. In our middle school, we have full-year science courses that expand from earth and space science, ecology, geology, physics, physical science, and biology. Dave Jones is one of our teachers and, like I mentioned, our STEM coach, but he also works with the NJDOE on the advisory committee since 2019, so he has given us a lot of insight into how that test is constructed, so we will be using a lot of his knowledge to make sure that we are doing the best we can with our science initiatives. The shift in science is really changing from factual content to emphasizing what students can do with the content. So it isn't just looking in a textbook, it's actually doing things with science. So we need the time and the space to do that, and I think that's the steps that we're taking moving forward. I also wanted to mention, too, how we compare to the state. I was in Massachusetts over the weekend, and Massachusetts always, they do really well. So I think, they're always number 1, but we're usually pretty close at number 2 or number 3. And we are at number 3. We are the 3rd best state in the nation. I think that's awesome. That's really great. Being number 1 would be greater, but I wanted to point that out because we are the 3rd best public schools in the United States. If Long Valley is better than the state average, I think we're on the right track. So if you look at level 4 and level 5 for the state was looking at 36% for meeting and 15% in language arts. We're at 22.6 and 48.5. So we're above the state average in both areas, meeting and exceeding. Mathematics as well. So additionally, the students in New Jersey actually have the 3rd highest math test scores in the country. So when we look at our state score, right, our state score is at 31.6%. Washington Township, we're at 53.1. In our exceeding expectations, the state is at 7 and we're at 8.9. So I just wanted to point that out that, I compared us to our grouping of our DFGs, but I also wanted to show how we did compared to the state average. So students, making sure that all students are supported. Our multi-tier system of support is our intervention service that we have in the district. We have tier 1, which is our core support, which is the good instruction that our teachers deliver every day. And I wanted to also say that MTSS is not a separate program. Everyone is in tier 1. Tier 2 and tier 3 are the targeted and intensive supports that we offer to students based off of data. So sharing all these numbers with you today, that's what we do with them, right? We look at those numbers, we analyze them, we look deep into the why behind those numbers and try to figure out how to support the students within our system of support. It's that three-tiered system. It's a three-tiered model of instruction. It includes that tier 1, which is the delivery of really good instruction. Targeted small group instruction happens at tier 2. Tier 3 is that intensive instruction where students are really looked at, sometimes one-on-one with a teacher, to make sure that those needs are met. Embedded use of differentiation. We also have curriculum and instruction that are based on the New Jersey Student Learning Standards. We are designed for prevention, intervention, and enrichment in all areas of learning. And I also just again wanted to point out that it's not a special education program. All general education students are within this framework of support. This slide just shares with you some of the tools we use to identify students, to find those areas that we need to target. And within each of these, you can see our screening and assessments in tier 1. Those are all the assessments that our students are given. So it's not just about the NJSLA assessment and the results of those. That's one piece of it. But we also have more measures to determine where students are. In tier 1, tier 2, it gets a little bit deeper into more specificity of what it is that we want to look for to see what students may need from their teachers. In the second row, it talks about the resources that we use within our curriculum for both tier 1 and intervention. And finally, last but not least, I think one of the most important pieces of all of this is the professional development that we offer our teachers. The stronger we provide that professional development so the teachers have the resources, the tools, and the knowledge, helps with our students. And they also will have that knowledge and benefit because of it. And that is my final slide. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I also just wanted to take a moment to thank you for also adding in the district factor group. I know it was a conversation that we had, so I really appreciate seeing the data. To me, it's very helpful. I don't know for everybody else, but I like seeing just how we compare to those schools that you had listed on the footnote there, so I appreciate that. All right. Moving on to correspondence. This month we received correspondence from Jay Coladarsi. Committee reports. Do we have Education Committee report?
Yes. The Education Committee met on Friday, November 1st at 10:30 a.m. People in attendance were Committee Chairperson Cindy Ruggiero, along with Carmine, Lindsay, Isabel, and Mary Beth Kopaz. Ms. Kopaz gave a Eureka Math update. Implementation has been successful. During her listening tour, it was noted that teachers were overall very happy with the new program. Professional development has been held and will continue to be scheduled to support teachers. The program is aligned to a, quote, best practice approach to teaching mathematics, specifically starting with the concrete hands-on learning, then moving to representational pictures, models, and diagrams before moving on to the abstract. This approach supports conceptual understanding and the growth and development for all students in the various areas of mathematics in grades K through 5. The program is also much better aligned to the new New Jersey Student Learning Standards. There was a discussion of the parent presentation, quote, developing the whole child in a digital age. It was a successful evening, and the administrators received positive feedback from people in attendance. Mr. Rampton, who also spoke, donated books to the schools, and we are recognizing that donation on this evening's agenda. The recording can be found on our website under Parent Resources. Mrs. Kopaz discussed the process of a 5-year curriculum cycle. As part of the cycle, it is recommended that the next area of focus be ELA, English Language Arts, with a focus on reading. Reading programs will be explored and recommendations will be made as part of the budget process. At LVMS, the gifted and talented cycle class is being prepared for. Staff members will be approved this evening, and the class will begin on Quint 4. Homework practice at the various levels was also discussed. The Education Committee is recommending that a homework committee be formed to begin to look at the practices and expectations across schools and grade levels. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance and Facilities Committee?
Finance and Facilities met yesterday, November 5th. In attendance were Jess, Mary Beth, Katie, Stephanie, and myself. The committee started with a discussion of the referendum projects. The Flocktown Cosman roof is still in progress, having been reduced to a skeleton crew that can only continue work when there are no students or staff in the building for safety purposes. Then the committee reviewed the drawings, I should say preliminary drawings, for the culinary art and LVMS parking lot, as well as STEAM space drawings for each of the schools. These drawings have had input from our superintendent, our BA, facilities manager, director of curriculum, director of special ed, technology coordinator, STEM coach, the culinary arts teacher, as well as the principals and the vice principals. So there were a lot of eyes on these drawings before they made it to us, but everything looks very exciting. The LVMS HVAC and electrical upgrades bid is going to be opening on the 14th of this month at 1 p.m., and it will be awarded at next meeting in December. The PA system here at LVMS and the Flocktown Cosman classroom storage projects are in the final closeout phase, with one miskeyed lock remaining for completion of the storage projects. Hopefully that'll be done soon. Then we moved on to agenda items. For tonight's agenda, we reviewed items 12, 13, and 15. It's the contract with Fairmont Services for snow removal. They kept their prices the same. We're not renegotiating. Related service providers for risk assessments. And then there is a motion to accept the 23-24 audit that Brian presented earlier this evening. Then we moved to the comprehensive maintenance plan. This is due to the county superintendent on November 15th. We reviewed the maintenance plan, which includes the budgeted amounts for each of the schools. We took a look at the revised long-range facilities plan proposal from our architect. It was reduced in scope substantially, but we asked our business administrator to go back to the architects one more time for a more detailed breakdown of the labor costs associated with the data entry and input into the state system. Katie gave us some good news about a recreation grant that's going to be offered again next year. The Department of Community Affairs released a memo that they were going to be offering this again. Applications are due January 31st, and we're going to apply. And the committee discussed potential uses for that grant. Then the committee discussed the status of the Class 3 officer position we are looking to hire through the Washington Township Police Department, as well as future opportunities for improvements to district security. Then the committee had a discussion relative to the Long Valley Middle School for a new location for the PTA storage space that is being renovated as part of the referendum projects, as well as potential locations for flower beds that would be planted and maintained by LVMS students. The committee then discussed summer co-curriculars and the possibility of offering those in support of learning enhancement. The committee discussed the February board retreat in support of board goal number 3, potential dates, as well as potential topics for the agenda. We started discussions of the 25-26 budget. Budget season is happening realistically now. We're starting to set expectations for that. And then finally, the committee discussed the pros and cons, as well as the potential resources required to change our SIS, that's our student information system, from OnCourse, which is what we have currently, to Genesis, which might give us some opportunities for a little bit better integration with some of our other systems and some additional capabilities. That's it for the Finance and Facilities report.
Thanks, Rob. Moving on to public comment on agenda items. If anybody has public comment on agenda items, please approach the microphone, state your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide any comment. Okay. Moving on to the approval of minutes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the October 8th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, make a motion to approve the October 17th special meeting and executive committee meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, and lastly, I'd like to make a motion to approve the October 30th, 2024 special meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to education. Can I have somebody please move education?
Yes, I'd like to move items number 1 through 7.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mr. Oldman?
Yes. Next, can I have somebody please move finance?
Finance would like to move item number 8 on tonight's agenda, a motion to accept with gratitude the following contributions: $2,373 from the Suchi family to be used for preschool playground equipment at the Old Farmers Road School, and the donation of books that Cindy mentioned to each school valued at $60 from Steve Rampton entitled Alpha Nerds and College is an Option, Not a Requirement.
Is there any discussion? Just really quick, I'd just like to, I know Lindsay's not here, but I would just also like to express my gratitude. I do have a child who's in preschool at Old Farmers. Nevertheless, it's still a nice gesture, but I just wanted to call that out. So if there's no other discussion, we'll take a roll call.
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mr. Oldman?
Yes.
Finance would like to move items number 9 through 17 on tonight's agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mr. Oldman?
Yes. Can I please have somebody move personnel?
Personnel would like to move item number 18 on the agenda. Motion to accept and regret the following retirement. Neil Pearson, bus driver, effective February 8th, 2025, after 10 years of service in the district.
Second.
And is there any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mr. Oldman?
Yes.
Personnel would like to move items 19 through 28 on the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mr. Oldman?
Yes. Next, I'd like to make a motion to read for the second time the policies under agenda item number 29.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
No.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mr. Oldman?
Yes. Next, I'd like to make a motion to read for the first time the policies under agenda item number 30. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Ruggiero?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mr. Oldman?
Yes. Moving on to unfinished business. Does anybody have any unfinished business? Okay. Any new business? Okay.
I'd just like to say that, Cindy, you did a great job. I learned a lot from you, and you're really going to be missed. You know, thank you for taking my phone calls and educating me on all the issues that we discussed over the years, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, and I second those comments as well. Thank you. If nobody has any other new business, we're moving on to public comment. So this is public comment on all agenda items. Please approach the microphone and state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. Okay. I did cover district distinctions in my opening comments, so at this time I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.